like, let's just write at it and on it, and then that way we can, you know, turn this into something that we all feel good about. I mean, maybe we feel pretty good about, we haven't had that intense discussion yet, so. All right, so can you pull, do we have Wi-Fi here?
I think so. I'm not sure if there's a password on it or not.
I'll ask. Yeah, then we can look at it on our screens together.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what's online, what Dan put together. So,
Cafe 1872, all lowercase, and I think just Cafe 1872, all lowercase.
maybe having a problem with the computer. Maybe you can be the computer guy.
No, it's yep, I'm in.
Okay. So I'll do paper copy fashion. You can do the screen. Can you pull up the Google Doc there?
Yeah, I think I have my email.
We can look at the hard copy.
Okay.
I mean, this is from some time ago, right?
June 22nd? Yeah. Earlier in the summer. Have you all looked at it in a while?
It's been a while.
So why don't we first reread it?
Sure.
And then maybe, you know, since you have a working computer, maybe it can be described.
I'll be described.
Okay. And we'll just sort of open a document and throw ideas on it first, really random.
So, I've got it up now, so if you want to...
Okay.
Do we want to focus more on like there's a little bit of a preamble,
Yes.
and then there's the section 1. Are we focusing on both?
Why don't we focus on the sections first, because we only have an hour. I have to leave in an hour. Because I think a lot of this was just taken from the old document.
So the placement policy, section 1.
Section 1.
Yeah, I'm still looking to see where I got it somewhere there. Just start. I'll just keep looking.
Okay, it's June 22nd. You're right on it.
Feel free to scroll down as you go.
Oh.
Why do we call the neighborhood school the default option?
Only because those folks who, and that's a good question, but probably because folks who live within 0.5 don't have to do anything with our CST. If they live within 0.15 and they want to go to that school, it's their default school. But that doesn't apply to community, you know.
Right now, 0.5 is not your default. You may, and this I think needs to be spelled out. The only way that you get to choose your school in this district, and I know this because we are 0.4 miles from 52 school. So as long as we filled out the paperwork before the deadline,
You still have to fill out the paper?
you certainly must, because if your school is enrolled to capacity during the selection process, you can't go to that school. It is only guaranteed. It is not a default.
Okay, so maybe the question is,
Which I think is, I think, when Dan put this document together, to me, it reflects, I think there's two competing points of view in the committee. And I think this provides more equity for those who participate in choice.
this.
Yes. But it does not increase the default for families that don't participate in the school selection process.
And so you're saying that the choice parents, so maybe they get in if there's a seat available after people submit their choices, and there's a seat available, then you get the default.
Right.
But if there's not, so I guess it's a question of who gets in first, the lottery people or the neighborhood people. It sounds like the lottery people go in first, and then the neighborhood people. So it's not really a
No,
default.
not if people enroll before the February deadline.
If you enroll before and you select it and you're within a half mile, you get it.
You got it.
Those are the only people in the process who choose their school. Everybody else is left up to chance or the placement office.
But they don't reserve seats for
No, they don't know
So
that.
they-
default people.
they do not hold
within
any seats.
0.5. No seats out. Okay, so
So
do
there's
we
no
want to have
database
a
on
question
that.
about, well,
I mean, to me, the heart of I think the crux of the issue is, do we want the current policy? It is accurate. The only people who choose their schools are families like mine that are within a half mile. Do we want to expand that choice to a 1.5 or if everybody's assigned a neighborhood school, because whether you're 0.5 or you're 1.5, there's a neighborhood school that's closest for you.
yeah.
And that day they could.
Is that, I think that's in the spirit of what Dan was saying.
The people still want choice.
But that everybody should have, according to like his first thing, every street address in the city is in a designated attendance zone for one school. So his placement policy number 1 does not mention anything about a 0.5 mile.
No.
It's just every home gets a default neighborhood school.
And that day they exist now.
And if you want something else, then you apply.
But there's still a question about whether the default comes in after or before the lottery. Like, it sounds complicated to reserve seats before, not knowing what percentage of the neighborhood is going to select as default, right?
Well, but I think this is to me. I thought about this because people in my neighborhood have said, I want to send my kid to 52 school. They're within 0.5 miles and they can't because that grade level's already fully enrolled.
And they didn't sign up in time.
And it isn't at the time. If we have it be publicized that if you do not participate in the school of chance process, this will be your default school. So that it automatically says, if you as a parent, well, this presumes that you're going to enroll,
It presumes what?
that you are somehow in the system. Like we're thinking about families that are not in the system yet, right?
Yeah, I think that maybe what we should be thinking of is we know where children are supposed to go. In fact, it would be very good if we updated that map that goes back to 2002 or whatever it was there, so that people can have a graphic view of what their school is. Because right now, you put a name in and you get some school spouted out to you, but you don't really graphically see what your neighborhood school is, what would be the path your child might walk to it. We need to get that updated. But we know that if there are 300 kids that might go to that school, if 40 of them apply for some other school and get in on the lottery, right there you can subtract 30 seats. There are 30 more seats available
In that
at that school, in that neighborhood for others to go to, we should really make it most attractive to go to the neighborhood school so that we can build up
Communities.
community.
So the best way to make that attractive would be maybe to have keep folks within whatever range we're going to say have first dibs before the lottery, right?
Yeah.
Is that what we're saying? Or something
Yes.
else?
It is, and I'm always advocating for the families that don't do the paperwork.
Right. So how do you
So
you
that's-
support those families as well?
Could we establish is this systemic?
Percentages?
No, just establish something that in the let's say June 1st, June 30th, some reasonable date. I don't know why January is why we wait that long. You must fill out paperwork if you want your child to attend a city school. At some point, you do have to fill out paperwork. If you want to attend a neighborhood school, you can figure out what school that is. As long as you get the paperwork in by June 30th.
And why is June, I'm looking for rationales, why is June 30th better than January to say?
Because families may move into the neighborhood in June.
More likely to do that than in January?
If I have January is not when people are thinking about September's the first day of school.
Yeah.
Culturally, we have not established in the city a pattern where most people know I gotta get this paperwork done by January 30th.
Yeah.
To me, it would make even more sense to do it at the end of August or August 1 or something like that. You have all the banners up, if you sign up, as you said.
The later the better.
Yeah, right.
Well, maybe it's a period of time, it's a rolling period of time, like from June 30th
Yes.
to August 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your kid.
That becomes pretty impractical. People who are sorting out where kids go.
Well, that's what's happening already, I think. that
Not
people are
as
kind
much.
of-
I mean, the earlier you start that, then the more you can actually plan how many kindergarten classes you have in the school.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So this is just, I'm only thinking kindergarten, not any other grade.
Right.
And probably the changes that we suggest would likely be for the other grades, because it's hard to change things for families
Yeah.
that are already in. So we want to look at the pre-K and K.
Yeah.
How can we make it better for those families who are kind of on top of this stuff and
Yeah.
those families that are not on top of this stuff? What are the best options for both sets of families?
How about if we had a system where we send out a letter in, say, February or March or whatever, your child will be assigned to this closest school unless you indicate otherwise now. And that would, indicate otherwise by such and such a date. Now that gives you, at such and such a date, that 50 or 100 or 200 have opted to go to that neighborhood school by not responding. And that would also let you know how many spaces are available for people who apply for school.
Letters to people who move into a neighborhood, like how do we do that in some kind of organized way? I mean, if we coordinate with the city somehow, or real estate people, so that's one piece. How do you notify and when do you notify? Can we connect it with an automatic moving in sort of thing? Another thing is, can we create some kind of online, transparent, like, here are the seats in this school, and so people can just see a visual year round of how many seats are in the school, and so that you can see it actually changing in February to June or whenever.
Oh, you're saying how many seats remain?
How many seats are
Still,
available?
yeah.
How much capacity does the school
Yeah.
have? And how many seats are currently occupied? And what's the projected number of seats that will be available in the fall? And that number could be changing, but it seems like that I would feel more comfortable if I could see the capacity, the occupation, and the projected as a parent, rather than just guessing.
Should we try to promote having the schools do an open house, inviting parents to come in at some particular date up front, you know, like be it in February or March. The neighborhood school contacts, you know, sends an email out to the parent inviting them to their.
Well, we have the expo already every year. That happens, but maybe we should have several, or maybe we need to move it to different times of the year, or maybe that's not quite doing it. We had talked earlier in here about
The
the
expo
neighborhood. You know, we need to be more neighborhood friendly, just like one location downtown, right?
I think a lot of this is it's this, you know, what do we want to see in 5 years? And I think it's going to be a stated, like, at first it's going to be a very challenging rollout. And I think that moving the date, the later the better. Because families might wait until the summer to think, I've got to enroll my child for pre-K or, I don't know, you know,
Right.
or kindergarten. And what we're fundamentally facing right now is that it's very easy for the placement office to just fill gaps in schools with the people who don't fill out the paperwork. So if we're going to disrupt this current system, Kathy, she made a good point. 28 school, 46 school, and 52 school are all in the same area. There aren't enough kids in 14609 East Side to fill those 3 buildings. Those tend to be high on the selection list from other neighborhoods, so that problem may solve itself. But if we were to open up enrollment until August 1st, if this is your neighborhood school, you can lock it in.
Yeah, I think there should be a priority period of time for some. That's, I mean, because we do need to think about incentives.
Where Dan's, every street address is, you know, you're designated a school, and then it's like, so what's the, I think maybe the first question to put in, you know, very light pen or heavy pencil, what's a reasonable cutoff date where you can still get that school if it is your neighborhood school? And then, I mean, I like August 1st, but I don't know how that deals, you know, with placement office.
So maybe we open it June 1st and end it by July 30th. I don't know.
I don't know, but I think when you think about the mobility in this city, folks don't stop moving July
Right.
3rd. They just don't.
And they're going to take care of the whole problem.
You're not. You're not. So basically, I think what you're describing is a culture change in terms of if we're talking about creating a city where neighborhood schools are such that they appeal to everyone because there's not this unequal kind of whatever.
There's equity of reputation, we'll call it that.
Yes, right, something, right? Because unless we address that, folks are still going to choose to, and we don't resolve anything.
Right.
So I don't know, I don't think it's a kind of an easy answer until we understand what it is we're trying to create. And I think we're trying to create more equitable opportunities within each neighborhood so that I don't feel that I'm being slighted because that's my neighborhood school.
Yes.
And what might those equitable opportunities be?
Oh, quality teachers, technology, building facilities, whether or not they're in good shape or not, how they look like, what the grounds look like, the library, you know, the books within the library,
Perception.
That's hard to
perception
change.
and reality.
But that's what.
I think it's both. It's the perception and the reality.
Right. One is easier to deal with than the other.
Right, but I would, you know, I'm being a former principal. I go past buildings and I look at the outside and I said, I would never tolerate that. Never. I was at school 39, and I don't want to go off on it. I'll be like Ralph, be like go on the stories, but you have to. People have to have a quality standard that is, you know, owned by the folks who work there and by those for whom they work. That's it.
It has to have enough, you know, building integrity.
Yes.
That people feel like they want to continue that school's tradition and
Absolutely.
have a stake in something that's already successful.
Absolutely.
You don't want to.
So here's the rub. I agree with all of
Yep,
that.
but
Policy, you know, we're making proposals for policy,
Yeah.
and policy can't enforce the ground, how the way the grounds look. I don't, or can. I mean, it just feels like what our reach is in certain areas,
Right.
and not in other areas. Or maybe there's a creative way to get there. But I'm just saying, that's all important. But how does policy get there?
Right. So the policy, we can have a policy, but if it's not choosing. So every street address in the city is in the designated attendance zone for one school. We agree with that?
Yep.
All right.
Or why not two? One or two?
just no, because you need one. Because if there's two, are we guaranteeing you get to choose one or the other?
Well, there
what
are
are
some
the pros and
places
cons? What are the pros
like
and
School
cons?
4 and School 2 and
School 19.
19, you know, they're very close to one another.
Right.
And
Yeah, I mean there are.
Yeah, what are the
if you're
pros
one
and
street over, you.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, we knew who was going to 19. The folks down the other side of Jefferson went to school number 2. The folks down there went to school 4. We were clear about which schools we went to. So our address was school 19.
So there were lines somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah. I was a kid. I don't know what you guys, what they were doing. But you know, yeah, but, you know, it's clear.
Maybe
So
that's better than having two options.
I think so.
Because, just say one more time, because just so your choices is easier for parents.
And I think it's more easier to predict whether this school will have this many of kids that can choose it. This school will have this many. If there's an area in the middle, too many might choose this one and not this one.
Okay.
Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, variables get too complicated.
I think there was a time when, because of enrollment, there was a choice between 19 and 2. I think as a kid, I remember that. But, you know,
And then I feel like a case by case.
it would. So, in which the other part that you bring up is very important, and that is every community does not have enough capacity to fill those schools.
Right. But and there are some communities that have too many kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And we're counting on the fact that typically those communities are the more centrally located, and the schools maybe aren't as newer or whatever. So there might be a greater likelihood that it's that how many kids in the 52 neighborhood are sending their kids to 8 schools. But I'm sure there are some in the 8 neighborhood that are sending their kids to 52.
Yeah.
Like that's just fact. I don't want to, it's not.
Right. So, 2, parents can still choose schools outside their zone.
I had a question about the answer to that.
Is that?
I mean, could we have exceptions for ELL? I mean, if there's families that need services in particular schools that are outside of their zone, then of course we move it. Or if a family moved, they were in this zone and they moved, and to limit the disruption, we continue. We made that sort of nice thing for the sake of families. We could revisit it, but those are the only reasons I think right now that we move people, we go outside the zone.
So what if we, and I think that's, we go outside the zone because that allows us to fill every school.
Currently.
But if we said parents can choose schools within their zone, which is the current policy, and we put an asterisk, and we said, cases with ELL and very, singleton special ed, decisions would be made on case-by-case basis.
So right now, parents are choosing outside their zone, and we don't want to do that.
Right, because it's daycare for. I mean, that's the other I think
Yeah.
it's a smart move for some parents.
Yeah.
It's a great daycare, and I don't fault them. That's not. But I don't think that's their responsibility.
And just to put it out on, so there's a daycare issue, but there's also the issue that people could accuse us, this committee or folks, saying that, well, what if, because there are sections of the city, like the northeast zone is much more highly impoverished than, say, the south zone sections.
Yeah.
So we can be accused of saying that we're trying to keep poor kids in poor neighborhoods, wealthier kids in wealthier neighborhoods. So we need to speak to that or look at that.
Well, that's where I think the issue of equitable, not equal funding comes in.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have it, and have it that everybody gets the same choice or the same effectiveness of the education, then that has to go along with it. And then eventually things would be equal, but it would take that.
Because we talked about moving resources, not people.
Right.
That's what we want to be doing. But then what does that look like? What is that? How do we translate that?
I think somehow,
Sounds good theoretically.
while it's outside the scope of this task force, incorporating something akin to what Ralph has been proposing in terms of this community accredited school, really pushing for getting a strong community involvement in the school is something we have to promote in this, and maybe the fact that there'll be some funds available to improve the quality of schools as
things you were
needed.
talking
Yeah.
about.
And I would go just to add, my response to that concern is that we have the largest concentration of impoverished families in the last 15 years. We've gotten more, not less. I think every zone has
As a
enough
percentage of
low income.
yeah.
And I live in the Northeast. I'll be happy to say, send me. I'm more than
Okay.
As a district, too many of our children, the vast majority, qualify for free and reduced lunch.
So, but that first suggestion about one school per zone, that could get very hotly political, where people say, "No, I want the line drawn here, not there." You know what I'm saying?
And Ralph made the point that if we work with the city, with neighborhoods, so I think Culver Road is a natural boundary where there's the Beechwood neighborhood on the outside. So I live, 15 houses, Garrison Avenue from Culver, and North Lincoln Village. So there are some geographic neighborhood boundaries that make sense.
So that would make it less like we're just gerrymandering or something, right?
Well, if the zones are only 3 that they are now, or even go to 4 in the quadrants, that's big enough
We
that.
could do that, but we'd probably have to make a strong argument for why we 3 to 4. We don't want to just disrupt everything. I mean, maybe we do if there's some good reason.
Well, how many schools would actually be in the southeast? Not that many. So if you kept the north as the northeast the same, and the south became east and west,
So, yeah,
it's probably not that many schools.
okay. I don't know if you have an answer.
Looking if we have to. I know it's on the intranet.
It should be on the website at RCSD.
Yeah, was it under schools? Can you find it?
That's the neighborhood.
Was that?
That's the neighborhoods. I think schools are actually on here somewhere.
Oh, neighborhood maps, yeah. That would be great to actually turn that into with the schools on there, blow that up. Yeah, that's true.
This is the one. So, if we look at this, if we use the river and Main Street, the southwest, southeast looks like it'd be a little
Small.
small, but I mean, it can only be so. I don't know why there's 3 zones.
Well, I would actually use the river and 490. Because 490 is actually a barrier between.
I could see that.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the city uses, but
So we're not going to be able to avoid the politics of all this. Because what I thought about is in which zones are all or the majority in receivership. Is there?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
That's a good point.
That's a really good question.
Well, you know, yes, that's a tremendous point. Like, what's that now?
So, and I guess what would be, it would be interesting to, I mean, this is a moving target, but there's, Place and Office probably knows which are the most popular schools, the oversubscribed and the ones that are least, and kind of see where those cluster within the zones. That would be useful to see. Okay, so
yeah, they used to have a metric percent of people who got this as their first choice. So how many people really wanted to go to school X and got it?
right,
It's this. What are there's northeast, northwest, and south zones, right?
that's right.
Which, keeping in mind right now, we do not like Willa Powell will attest that was always supposed to be hard zones, and we don't follow them. You know, looking at this, I could say that if we went to quadrants, or if we actually did hard zones with the 3 that are existing, I think it would be the 3 zones would be 5 because in the northeast we've got
A lot.
You've got a lot,
Decent number.
and I think there'd be enough.
Yeah.
The south zone, my concern is that are there enough kids in the entire south to fill all those buildings?
Be nice to see what to update the map, that's similar, where it shows how many kids would be assigned to this school if we took
We said
the distribution.
update the map. So we want seat capacity, and we want like where they are in the preference selection, desirability, and that's a moving target, right? So, okay, but number 2, parents can still choose schools outside their zone. So we're saying we'd rather have them inside zones. Move that to harder zones. As long as we have enough kids.
Now, does that, are we going to redefine some of the citywide run schools? Since 10 really duplicates what some other sectors have, we'll try to morph it to having it be a
Yeah, I think we need a
zone-wide
discussion
school.
about some, what our rationales are around citywide, and so that needs to be revisited and updated if needed, right? So,
I think one of the ways that I thought about the citywides is that, I mean, 58 is another one of those political hot potatoes. There's been a lot of capital, fiscal capital, and human capital designing that school, but we've tried to replicate it. And I think 10 is a fair
Fair one.
Facsimile?
One up for discussion.
So would it be just and equitable if there were an inquiry school in each zone, whether it's 3 or 4 zones, and then we get rid of then that eliminates the need for citywides.
Right.
Does that because then we're going to the OLAP program. Well, if the OLAP program is good, replicate it.
Yeah.
So that
1 EL per zone, is that what we're proposing?
1 EL per zone.
Citywide per zone, yeah. There could be.
But no longer called citywides. They're called. But then that's
Well, they're zone-wide.
they're zone wides.
Yeah,
Wow.
zone.
But they're
Right.
but they're all zone. Like by this model, anything in your zone, you have the option to participate. You have a chance to apply to.
So you're saying even if you live in the southeast, you attend citywide in the northwest?
I'm saying, but I'm saying let's get
You
away
wanna
from
keep
that.
it-
If the product is so good that we want to offer it to every kid in the city, then let's offer it to every kid in the city in their
every
zone. Like it maddens me that we don't copy good things.
Effective evidence-based practices, right?
Yeah.
What are really good. So, and what has to be on I would recommend to be on the policy though.
Yes.
It's not just that every address will have this, assigned school, so to speak, but that every school will have X. There should be something that is appealing.
Excellent.
Yeah, right.
Right.
I know we're not gonna. Well, I don't know, but having foreign languages in a school very much is attractive to parents of very young children. Whatever it is, it could be science, a kind of experiential science, in-depth science opportunity for kids that want to be, science directed. Something. There has to be something in every school, and every school should have an ability to address kids with special needs. They should not have to be bused.
Is there? Would you say that we are close to doing that, with the exceptions of kids like I know there's like autistic. There's a section of autistic kids at East High that were drawn from all over because there's common
Right. Well, we need to be able to provide something because there'll be kids on the spectrum. It's part of it. There'll be kids with learning disabilities for whatever reason. You know what I mean? But we should be prepared so that a parent of a child with special needs should not automatically think that they have to be bused.
So if I can just reflect back just from what you said at the very beginning about every school should have something. Like people feel that they lose if they don't get 58 school when they participate. Why? Okay. I don't know how we put that into a policy, but I like that idea that every school should have something that's a signature.
Some sparkle.
Some-
Yeah,
a
it needs
signature.
to. Yeah, but if you have, but still, if the rules of inquiry, school 58 has a foreign language, and school 6 doesn't, and I want foreign language for my kid, then school 6 does not appeal to me.
But right now, school 6 has nothing.
I'm just throwing that out there.
No, but we need to make sure that every school
Yeah.
has the same.
Based on what the
Sparkle.
community wants. So when we talk about culture change, like meet with parents and folks and say, this you have this
These are the-
budget, right? We know what the socioeconomic status is. We know what the academic performance generally is.
Yeah.
You need. What do you want? How do we do that?
And if you do that, and you the publicity part is then you get local businesses to donate.
Absolutely.
If you want like a string program,
This has got to be as Ralph said. This might be my words, but a triangulated piece. You have to have the city involved. You have to have the business. You have the school districts, and in the middle are the families.
Right.
And
So-
if we want to create a culture change.
Right. But what we're discussing diverges from what 2 and 3 actually say right here. And there was a difference in the opinion in our group. Parents can still choose schools outside their zone. We're talking about hardening if we have these resources.
Maybe Dan meant outside their attendance zone.
Oh,
It just hit me just
wait,
now.
what's the attendance? The attendance zone is,
If you're living in a 23 school neighborhood, you can still choose other schools outside of the 23 school zone. But it still has to
Outside the
be within your
catchment
quadrant.
this zone, these 0.5 mile.
Yes, maybe, and I don't know. Until right now, I did not interpret it until I am this way. Maybe Dan meant you can still choose schools outside of your neighborhood zone, but within your quadrant or
Your zone,
Triangle.
big C zone,
Well,
Yes.
if you call it catchment area, then the people.
catchment area.
Yeah, you know what that
So
is.
you can do it in your catchment area, but
Well, the catchment
outside.
area is sort of for your school, for a school.
catchment area.
And so you go beyond that, and then there's a zone. So there's three
Outside
zones.
catchment area.
Yeah.
okay.
And that's some, and we might want to define that greater than 0.5. Right.
Yeah,
That's probably
Well,
comes out,
well, that's-
comes out of the first item.
That's rule 1. Everybody should be given a school that is designated as their
homeschool.
Homeschool, but you can choose outside of your homeschool. Is what I'm saying.
correct.
But to
it
how,
has to
to
be
how much
within-
distance, but it has to be within how much.
But to within either the quadrant or the 3 existing zones. I would say at this point, probably the 3 existing zones, because I just think the south, east and southwest right now.
So a data point we need, and maybe you have it, Liz, is what percentage of our students right now do travel all the way across town to go to the school? Because we're gonna have to give them some time to make that change, right? They're not gonna want to not be able to choose.
Well, and I think that whatever we propose should probably be.
Is it,
for
am I using
districts.
catchment area correctly?
Okay.
Maybe not
Starting.
even talk
Okay.
about the
All right.
now, like
Yes.
that's too hard.
Okay. Yes.
Still say to me, you can't go.
Right, okay.
Catchment area, am I using that correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah,
One,
we're really
trying to-
talking
Yeah, for
about
one school,
building
yeah.
districts.
Yes.
And we might be able to do, I mean, because we also want to talk about incentives. Incentives for families to stay in their neighborhood. And I don't know if we talked about this before, but I know that if people knew in a neighborhood that another group of folks in their neighborhood were also attending, they might be more likely to. Like, so if you could sign up, like, if you have 5 other families that you sign up with, I don't know, pick a number.
No, it's true. That's very
Maybe
much.
people would say, "Oh, my neighborhood's here." You know, I mean, that might be an incentive. You don't have to do it, but people could do it. You get more of a in the formula for placement. You get bumped up a little higher if you sign up with some buddies. Maybe I don't
Well,
know.
wait,
What are
no,
the pros and cons of that?
Another incentive would be to provide the community of parents who have their children in the school something. If it could be with the whole the extension, you know, like training for parents to do whatever or something that belongs to those parents of those kids.
So,
I think group is powerful. So there's something about incentivizing people as a group. Yeah, because then you're like, oh, really? There's 20 people from my neighborhood just over there. That school looks okay to me. I have,
Those
you know,
money can.
maybe they, I don't know how the formula works again, but maybe they get a little higher up on the choice thing. I don't know how that. Right now we just have siblings and 0.5 is the formula.
and I think that's the most. It's just grossly inequitable. Why did I get to choose 52 school? Because I am, 20 houses further away, and I couldn't. Like, I am a person of privilege because I live in 25.
So you think that should be taken away?
I think everybody should have the same privilege that I have. And that's rule 1. Everybody can who participates choose their catchment area school. And I think that's what we're looking for 5 years from now. We want neighborhood school.
And they don't already have that.
The only people who can choose, in the word choice, I'm sure you heard me. I'm the only one who can choose because I'm not the only one. Anybody who's 0.5 or closer are the only people who have true choice.
And know that they're gonna get their choice.
And know that they're gonna get it. I think the new policy could say everybody has first option to choose their catchment area school.
Yeah.
And then number 2, you can still choose a school within your zone.
I'm not confused. I keep thinking.
Or chance, you can participate in a lottery.
Doesn't it already say that? I mean, I'm just saying, what am I confused here? So, I thought there was, like, you have this choice if you're 0.5.
Yes.
And you're saying, how would that change? So what, we want it to be,
Well, you can choose 0.5 now, but you have to walk.
well, you have to walk.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the
so
other-
we're leaving out the transportation issue. Okay. Yeah, that's a big one.
And we don't have, little guards in place, I don't think yet.
So if we could guarantee some kind of safety, adult safety, walkie-talkie, walking
Yeah.
bus kind of thing to the families with the newest, youngest kids, then the closest 0.5 families, or whatever it's going to be.
In your catchment
later,
area.
In your catchment area, you're thinking that should be more.
It should,
0.5.
it's that every street address in the city has to be put into a catchment area.
And the catchment area is defined by, we have to still make this map.
Correct.
And it's not 0.5, it's a map.
It's got to be like a neighborhood. Like
Okay, so
Beechwood
get
is
rid of
33 school.
So here it'll be big.
Market View Heights could be
Okay.
Freddie Thomas.
Similar to that.
Okay, so we're saying get rid of the 0.5 thing, really.
To
Yeah,
me,
catchment area.
I'm a person of privilege in the district.
Catchment
My kids
instead
are.
of 0.5 or whatever.
Yeah.
Even making it larger is no good if you think it should be the catchment.
I think everybody has to have an equal shot at a designated school.
Because these are still overlapped even at 0.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, what if you live here?
Right.
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Yeah.
Well, and that's where we get the city, the neighborhood groups, and that gets to the power of the critical mass of families.
Yeah.
My favorite is 42. 42 schools should be like a jewel of the city because it's what a nice neighborhood the Lake Ave area is.
No kids out there, right?
But I don't think it's the number of kids that I've taught at East who went to 12 school, who live up there, and I'm in 12 school.
Oh my goodness.
And maybe it's not like a huge number, but it's like
Yeah.
if so, just the nuts and bolts of it, equitable homeschool. You can still choose schools within your.
Okay, well that's the biggest
So-
task in front of us is to create these catchment area maps. And how we do that.
Well, they're made now.
But
By
We
Anchor.
asked her about, they are.
She's got a whole book.
yeah,
She showed it to me one day, and you just go
Kathy
down.
did?
Yeah.
Really?
But it's not
I went
a
in-
graphic, you get,
It's a table.
it's a table.
124 Trafalgar.
So,
16.
and do we look through that and judge whether
They do,
it's
yeah.
appropriate? No, I'm not
Oh,
saying
no, no,
placement,
no.
I'm talking
No.
about us. Like,
No.
does it need to be revisited? Depending on.
that might be
There's a whole bunch of
something.
consideration to go into. Just because it's already exists doesn't mean it's appropriate now.
Right.
And that might be a good document that you do bring to someone from the mayor's office or the city council, whoever, and say, help us make this better. Because you don't want to start from scratch and have people bogged down in doing the nitty gritty.
Right.
But the fine polish at the end, that's where you want all the experts to say, well, you really might want to have this street, the 39 school.
That would be where we start, really. I mean, and it's called a catchment map or
I don't know what she called it.
Catchment map, that was a nice.
Catchment map.
Yeah, it's in that FMP, went back to 2012. We got that copy from the district there, and I think it goes back to 2002 or something like that.
ABC policy council.
So, okay.
No, I forwarded that map to you, and Adele back at one of the.
Yeah, these are great. I know we.
But see,
handed
it should
them
be
out.
updated for the schools that are going to be taken away in the FMP.
Yeah, yeah, we've got, there are some things that we're going to have to make some decisions on, because like
Thank you.
44, which is definitely in an area, that right at this point it had, we got there 500, 800, there are 565 kids that would be going to 44 if they walked
Children,
to
yeah.
school.
Well, so it seems to me that, before we can even write this thing, don't you think that we really need to kind of take a look at this catchment map
Mhm.
and think about,
The only thing that I would, in that, thinking about the catchment map, it is important now to ask ourselves, has the notion of a citywide school run its course? Because 58 school is either going to be a neighborhood possibility or it's not. And it's in an unusual spot. It's the only one that's in the city center. But that's just when we draw these maps, if we ascribe to the idea that every school should have something that makes it shiny.
I think I'd be,
58 school already has something shiny. 10 school has something shiny. Do they need to be citywides, or can they just be put into a zone? And that's a very big political hot potato. But I think this is hard work, and there's you can't please everybody.
I think on my part, the 58 is citywide, the same as soda. We're not going to have 3 sodas. We probably should, but we don't.
But that creates losers. Like there's people
No,
who like
I mean, no, take the other point, is that every school should have the centerpiece, for
Yeah.
lack of a better term.
that's true.
Should have something appealing about it.
Okay. Well,
Well, we got a long way.
Got a ways to go yet, but hey,
well, no, I mean I think
what else have we got to do for
catchment
the rest of the
area.
year?
If
I'm gonna go home and sort of write up my understanding of everything that we talked about, and I'll
Yeah.
send it out, and you guys, add in if I forgot something or didn't quite capture it.
Yeah.
And it's a start, because I think, I keep kind of going back and forth between, we met last week for the focus group.
Yeah.
And we decided that we figured out that parents probably don't know enough about the system as it already exists to be able to answer questions about the system. And that actually we shouldn't be saying, well, you think it's an equitable system. People, when you really start to drill down, people actually don't know how it works. That's the biggest problem. So what we actually need to do is flip it and have informational sessions, and then sort of extract from people how they think it could be improved. So we thought we should make a little blurb about a PowerPoint presentation and go around to the libraries. So we're thinking the focus groups may morph into informational groups around the city. So that's where we went with this one. I was thinking we were going to kind of update this document on our way to moving it towards the
focus group.
policy committee or the focus group. But there's also some specific concrete work we need to be doing about, like, what's the first step? What's the second step? And it seems like these maps are key.
I would agree
I
with
mean,
that. That's
we have to clarify how we're dividing up the city and how we're aligning with the city and how before we set up our choice policy, we have to have our maps clear. So it does feel like from today's discussion, we need to get our hands on those catchment area maps, look at them together.
for tables and turn them into maps.
Yeah, and so we ask good questions about, is this appropriate, or how do we want it to change if it needs to be changed? 'Cause
The thing that, again, Kathy, I think I'm trying to channel my inner Kathy. I think one of the things that we must do is draw the 3 or 4s, whatever number of zones, in such a way that like school 44, we know has too many kids in its neighborhood to so we have to make sure that each zone has enough capacity for the population in that zone. Because right now, the way that we alleviate any problems is by just crisscross busing.
Okay, so that's a question for Kathy, right?
Well, that's a question when we draw our maps.
When we draw the
As
maps.
long as our zones, schools, all, and that's a simple, just
And
a
then capacity.
spreadsheet.
And there are, some issues like they're going to do some renovations at School 1, I believe, which has virtually no kids there. But they want to close 44 so it can be used for swing space for 10 and other schools that are
Well, 10 was
coming
being
down the
used
pike.
for swing space.
Pardon?
I thought 10 was being used for swing space, and the kids who are already in, or 1.
One will be used for swing space.
Right, and the kids who are 1 now found out about it sort of the last day.
When I talked to Mike the last time, it sounded like that wasn't the case, but maybe I should speak to him again.
It was in the paper that the superintendent and, were you at there's 5 board members at this meeting at School 1 2 days ago or yesterday?
Yeah, I was in Albany.
Good for you. No, it just sounded like it was contentious.
Yeah, I need to.
Because the School 1 parents
Sure, was upset.
felt like they're being kicked out of the building and the children's school is being brought in.
Yep. Right.
Yeah, did you have a link to that article?
It was in the DNC this morning.
DNC this morning.
This
Oh,
morning,
okay. I
okay,
haven't
I'll
looked
look
at
this
the paper
morning.
thing.
Let me
Yeah,
show
okay.
you one other thing. This is just from the old days. Here's the desired state of what we want to have. What's the barrier and what's the enabler to crush the barrier?
What does that say?
This is probably lobby Albany. It's basically what it's saying.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can put different things here, like you need beacon,
Daycare.
daycare,
Sorry.
Sparkly things or.
whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever,
Sparkly things.
whatever's in the desired state
Yeah.
over here.
Turn it into a document with that, a Google document. Can you put it in Google? Or send it to me in Word and I'll put it onto
Okay.
Google and we'll add to this as well.
Okay.
Because,
That's a good approach.
Yeah, I like that because then we know where our priorities need to place
Yeah,
it
we
at.
use
We
a
need
lot
to
of
do
words.
incentives, we need to talk to the city, we need to do busing,
So
sparkly
here's
things.
where all the elephants in the room go.
Yeah, that's good. So the elephants map, we'll talk
So
about.
there aren't enough principles.
Well, that's true. And, one of our goals that we're talking about with the new superintendent is leadership development.
Yeah.
Because the bench is pretty shallow.
Yeah, next Wednesday, the 24th, we're having a review of the renovation plans for School 16 over at the Arnett Library. And it would be good, I've been trying to push this to make sure that we publicize it to the neighborhood so that we can recruit local kids to go to the school, because we'd like the school to come back as a neighborhood school.
Sure.
So we may get some interesting input from that.
We didn't pick a meeting, I think.
No, we haven't
Yeah,
yet.
we need to do that before we went on.
Next Thursday?
Do you want to do next Thursday?
Next Thursday, I think that's okay.
25th. It's okay to me.
Okay, next Thursday at 4:30
Yeah.
here or where?
25th is board meeting. But it's okay. I mean, if we,
Have
I
it
just have to,
downtown so it's easier to,
might be better, yeah, might be better.
a little quieter there too.
Okay, so meeting 4:30 again?
Sure.
Okay, thanks guys.
I don't want to blow you away, but I have an idea sparked by what you said about the superintendent.
Uh-huh.
If you were to ask teachers who of their colleagues would make a good administrator, you'd do far better than teachers who self-select to go to admin school.
Okay, we'll put that in there.
Put that in the bank.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, then